This VTuber was denied an apartment because they are a VTuber. So the VTuber in question is Aurora Macquee, and they wrote, I showed proof of income to apply for an apartment today, and the person took it upon themselves to find my VTuber stuff. I got denied. They said it didn't look like my job was stable enough despite me making over the minimum for the yearly and 2 letters of recommendations from prior landlords. August Anomaly says, for housing? Why? And Aurora says, yes, I'm not stable enough, haha. Nova AO Kami says, bro, I had the same problem. I recommend trying to rent from a realtor instead of an apartment complex. They're usually more lenient. Aurora says, yes, I got a realtor now. Just sucks because this apartment was like perfection. Glad you got through it though. Gives me hope. Akife says, that's so shitty. I should have told my mortgage banker what I did for a living and he thinks what we do is impressive. Some people are such a-holes. Aurora says, when I was in LA, no one batted an eye. I had an apartment that knew I streamed as my main income. Over here, they just don't get it. And the landlord legit was like, huh? I gotta say, nowadays, the housing market is absolute dog. And landlords nowadays want more and more proof of income to apply for where I live. And for context, without giving too much information about my housing situation, I live with one other streamer and then a third person. So I have 2 other roommates with me. For us initially to get qualified for this place was also a really big pain in the butt because we have 2 people who are essentially self-employed. Thankfully, because I live in LA, they didn't ask too much about what I did for a living. They just wanted to see that we could make over 3 times the monthly rent on top of paying for the security deposit. So to apply for my housing, to pay for the first month, we needed to pay the security deposit, which was basically like double the rent. And then on top of that, we also needed to pay the first month's rent. So it came out to like 12K, 13K, something like that for the first month of living here, which is a lot of money to dump in one go, which really sucked. Getting qualified for housing is so difficult nowadays because they want people to make so much higher than what the actual rent is. Like your rent could be maybe the whole property could be like 2K per month, but that you would need to prove you can earn 6K per month. And I will say on one end, financially, that is ideal. Financially, you want to make at least 3 times more than the property you're renting. But a lot of times in this economy, that's just not how life works, man. You need a roof over your head. You need a place to stay. And with jobs nowadays being so scarce and so hard to find, it's also really difficult to make 3 times more a lot of times than what rent currently is, because depending on where you live, rent can differ. In LA, the average rent is like 2K, something like that. And obviously you could choose to live in like not an ideal place, a smaller property so that you can pay less, but it doesn't change the fact that rent nowadays sucks. And when I was applying too, I also had a hard time because what do I say my job is? Like a full-time streamer, a full-time content creator? I also think it's really weird that that person went out of their ways to completely stalk Aurora for all of their VTuber stuff. Kind of weird, bro. I don't know. I guess that's what their job is. Like they have to make sure you can qualify to pay, but Foray adds, my realtor told me that streaming is considered one of those volatile markets, which makes them nervous even if you're making income off it reliably. I got denied for a 3-bed, 2-bath house because I make 5 times of rent. 5 times! Oh boy, I need to know where you live and what you do for your work. Well, I guess you did say, because that's a lot. 3-bed, 2-bath in LA, a 3-bed, 2-bath place is like 4K a month minimum. And she asked what I did. Trucking owner, and she said it's volatile. Neon adds, for a flat, you need proof of income. Yes, but I think it's insane for a lot of these housing companies to demand you make 3K the rent in order to get a slot. I love this. Sunshine VC says, this is why you're not a VTuber. You're a third-party content creator for Amazon specializing in viewer experiences. Static Fox says, as a freelance designer most of my adult life, this is so effing real. They see basically anything that's not bolted to the ground 9 to 5 as, quote, you could lose your job tomorrow, end quote. Like, bro, we all could. I'm giving you the same money as everyone else, LOL. Cow Nane says, using different emails helps, winky face. So also, I'm not a lawyer, so take what I say with a grain of salt, right? Low key, do you have to be honest if they ask you what you do for work? Because from my memory, now I got my place 2 years ago, but from my memory, I did not have to submit like a proof of work as to what I did. When I applied for my place, they asked for pay stubs. I did not have pay stubs because I don't work for a company. So they then asked to see bank statements instead, to see that I had consistently a certain amount of income coming in per month. And they wanted 3 months worth of bank statements. I gave them the 3 months worth of bank statements. They didn't ask where anything was coming from. Sometimes it would say PayPal. Sometimes it would say like, I don't know, Corsair, Elgato, whatever, right? They took a look at it. They liked what they saw and they're like, all right, we're down to sign you this place and let you rent here. And I was like, cool, sounds good to me. But if they were to ever ask, I mean, could you say something like, you have a remote job, you work in product management in a remote position for Twitch, or you work as a remote video producer for twitch.tv, you know, like you're not necessarily fully telling the truth, not really an explicit lie. And the general good is that they get a tenant that can pay and you get a place to live, a roof over your head. Take what I say with a grain of salt. I am not a lawyer. That's not legal advice, okay? I don't think legally is necessarily ideal to lie, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, And I feel like it's like the same equivalent as like when you're applying for a job, but you don't have job references to then put your friend's number on your resume as your reference because you write them down as your manager from when you worked at McDonald's, and they call and ask and was like, how was Kat at McDonald's? And your friend will be like, yeah, Kat was a great employee, amazing, always showed up on time. Like, definitely could be true statements, but it is what it is, right? Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. I'm curious about your thoughts. If any of you guys are content creators, VTubers who have had to apply for housing, to try to get the property to rent or even buying a house, right? How is your process for doing that? I was hearing the story about a large content creator, it might have been Ludwig, who was like trying to get a house, but had a really, really hard time getting a house because to prove his income was difficult. Even though he could pay the entire property in cash, he still had to prove like stuff for paperwork, and it made it really difficult, even though he had all that money on hand. So I'm just curious if you've gone through that process. How did it go for you? I think me living in LA definitely made my life easier. But yeah, I'm so sorry for Aurora. I hope they're able to find housing soon. It really sucks that they're being essentially discriminated against because it sounds like they do make enough money to qualify because of the position that they hold, the job that they have. So that really sucks. This drawing looks really cute, right? Oh, wow, she's like sitting on her bed, da 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 da. Guys, what is happening here? What is happening to the foot? There's no heel and all the toes bleed into each other. Another one with the hands here. This one's a huge giveaway for me personally. Where's the thumb? Where did the thumb go? The Fryron one, some little strands of hair going into the hand, and then all of a sudden she's holding a giant clump of hair. This pigtail is really weird, but the most identifying aspect of why this pigtail looks really wonky is here. Look at this ear. She has, her hair strand is going this way, right? Which would indicate that it would continue moving like this. But this chunk of hair that should belong in this section of the head is just gone. Omitted, nada, disappeared. And you know why? Because it's AI. What is this? Why does it look like it's like a little shark or something with like teeth? Waka, waka, waka. It's like Pac-Man over here. Why does it have this? Thumbs don't look like that. Like, what is this like half rendered curve with like a line going into it? And the thumb is like, this cut into the finger is so deep. This pinky is starting at the knuckles of the rest of the fingers. You see, this is knuckle, 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 and then pinky. And then what is this? What is this thing here? So the anatomy of the hand is absolutely wonky and completely all over the place. This is not the work of somebody who is new to art, because somebody who is new to art would not be able to render in this level of the face and this part of the hair and this part of the stomach, but then not do it for other elements of the body. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it looks sus to me. But we have other examples here. Where's the belly button? Because this suit has a belly button cutout, but there is no belly button. With no belly button. Makes no sense to me. Look at this hands. They drew a toe for a thumb. They literally drew a toe for a thumb. This finger looks like a sausage. This hand is like astronomically horrendous. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you like to subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch. I do stream 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. And we just hit 80K on YouTube, so I'm grinding for 100K. Thank you guys. So I hope to catch you guys in there, those other socials, or in another one of my videos.